I was doing a half Ironman and I was in the lead, and this woman passed me, and she was all hunched over and she looked like death warmed over, and she was just like hobbling and struggling. And I said, oh my God, if that's what you have to look like to be first, I'll be second, because she was just in a world of hurt. And that's when I realized I could continue to be in a world of hurt, or I could do something to make me stronger and to make me age backwards.
Welcome back to the Dangerous Women podcast. I'm your host, Colleen Conlon, and today I'm so excited to bring one of my most favorite people, Abbie. I met Abbie a few years ago. She actually got started with me in the program that I run called Swing to Snatch, and she was the oldest person to date that wanted to try this program, and she freaking crushed it. And we have been training together for, I want to say, a little over 2 years at this point. And she has just owned the kettlebell game. She has owned the strength training game. And what is so impressive is the fact that she was not a strength training athlete until later in life. It wasn't until her 60s that she started lifting relatively heavy weight. And today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how the last couple of years have impacted her in such a positive way because she has started to implement strength training. And I don't know if we'll get to this. We probably will, but not for nothing. This woman started deadlifting 20 pounds and she's up to 150 pounds. All to say, if you are somebody who has considered strength training and you've thought to yourself, well, maybe I'm too old, maybe I'm past my prime on this one, absolutely not. There is no better day to start than today. And I hope that after you listen to Abbie's story, you feel inspired to get started.
Excited.
I'm so excited to have you here. I don't think there are enough women in their 70s that are talking about strength training. I don't think there's enough women in general who are talking about strength training. So the fact that we have you today, it's very much a unicorn opportunity in my mind. So can you just kind of give us a little rundown? What were you doing before you were strength training? How old are you? That's where I want to start. Yeah. How old are you and what were you doing before you were strength training?
I'm 71 and a half. I'll be 72 in June. No, so I'm 70 and a half. I'll be 71 in June. You know, it's so funny you asked me how old I feel, but since I started strength training, I think I've told you this before, I have moments where I have flashbacks to when I was 56. So I think that the strength training has helped me regress in age. I mean, I don't feel anywhere close to what the numbers on the pages are. And I have this, I think the strength training and the fortitude that I developed over the course of years by doing a number of different sports endeavors. My triathloning helped. My long distance biking helped because you really feel like you're going to get sick. And I mean, I did Ramrod, which is right around Mount Rainier, a number of times. It's 10,000 feet of climbing in one day and 150 miles. And then the death ride takes place in Markleeville in the California Sierras. And that is 120 miles over 6 mountain passes. And that is about 15,000 feet of climbing in one day. This is all in one day. So I think that I'm used to my body hurting, and I'm used to continuing on, even though it's hurting. And I think so that fortitude has given me I don't know, I would just want to say the push to continue with strength training, because I've always done some sort of strength training, but not with really a great program.
So let's talk a little bit about that. What does that mean for our listeners?
I hired a strength training coach when I was in my late 40s, early 50s, because, that's when I was swimming too. I wanted to get stronger for biking and for running and everything. And this guy that was teaching me at the time was the type of person when I was doing an RDL and my knee was hurting, he'd go, "Oh, you just need to lift heavier. You just need heavier weight," and never checked my form. As a result, during this period of time when I was doing all that work, not only with the running and the biking and the swimming and everything, I herniated 2 discs, one in my right leg and one in my left. And the one in my left was really bad. I had drop foot, which means I couldn't walk. I had to lift up my leg and swing it to walk. My other one was really bad too. And I worked through physical therapy like a dog with a bone. I don't give up on anything. And I got so that I could compete again and walk again. And I also have really good PT people that help me when my body is wrong. So when I first joined Swing to Snatch, there were so many things I couldn't do. I mean, I started doing stuff in COVID, just like goofing around with things. But I said to myself, you really need a program. You need someone who can direct you and move you along. So I found you, and I found you on the internet. And I liked you because you were sincere and honest, and it looked like you had really good trainings, good skill set to train people. And I've had really good trainers. So then I had my interview with you, and I was afraid you weren't going to let me do the class because I did. And you said, "Well, I know you could do it because of what you've done, but you are." Well, you didn't say it, but I know you were thinking, "Oh, I don't know. She's kind of old."
No, I know. You know what? I never thought, man, she's kind of old. In my head, I was like, wow, she's going to be the first woman at this age to be in this program. She is going to be a freaking legend. And I knew you were going to be successful because of the resiliency that you have to have been able to do all of these endurance challenges that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really excited by the thought, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't putting you in a situation where you could not succeed.
Yeah, and you never did that, which was great. You never did that, which is great. And the wins, like Swing to Snatch was perfect for me. Well, I think it was perfect. It's perfect for anybody because you really get to have eyes on you. And so if something hurts, oh, this isn't okay, try this. And the classes are great because you get to be in a group and the camaraderie is wonderful. And you get to watch what someone does better than you do and then see if you can mimic that. And then like when I tell you, I couldn't lift a bell over. I couldn't hold a bell up with my left arm because I had some rotator cuff issues with that. And during COVID, I was holding 3 pounds over my head and I was so excited. I couldn't get up off the floor like on my right knee because I couldn't put weight on my right side. I was not very comfortable doing that. I wasn't very strong doing that. So if you're on the ground and you go to put your foot up off the ground on my right side, I really had a lot of trouble with that. I mean, I had to hold on to a wall or push something off the floor. And I could remember even doing the warm up, like and I was like, oh my God, this knee hurts or that knee hurts, this hurts or that hurts. And yet, as I persevered and kept on going, it changed. I couldn't squat. My daughter laughed at me hysterically when I was first squatting. I looked like a Pac-Man. I was so bent over like this. And then you had Marissa help me with that and how to get stronger in that because my arch was collapsing. So how do you fix that? And then, and so I got stronger and it was just like a little gift after a little gift to see it all happen.
I think what is so cool is the fact that you worked with a trainer. You didn't have a very good experience strength training given the injury and being told you just need more weight. Like if that was me, I probably would have just been like, okay, I guess I'm not strength training anymore. This isn't for me. But you decided, no, I'm going to go try again. And you tried what, 10 years later? Is that the right math?
Yeah. Because my discs healed, so to speak. I learned how to do that, and I continued training and doing my bike rides and doing my triathlons. And I'll never forget, I was doing a half Ironman, and I was in the lead, and this woman passed me, and she was all hunched over, and she looked like death warmed over, and she was just like hobbling and struggling. And I said, oh my God, if that's what you have to look like to be first, I'll be second, because she was just in a world of hurt. And that's when I realized I could continue to be in a world of hurt, or I could do something to make me stronger and to make me age backwards instead of, because when you're injured, what happens is, and you're obsessed with whatever you're doing, whatever skill you want to achieve. And in my case, it was triathloning at the time. You just continue on training because you don't have time to stop to do anything else. And that's when I saw her pass me, and I saw what she looked like, and I thought, oh my, this is not the path I want to go on. And so I decided that I needed to strength train. And actually, what actually stood in my mind too is my mother gave my grandfather, when he was 95, a little set of weights, 5-pound weights. And he was in the nursing home. And she said, you know, Dad, you can use these weights and get stronger, because you can get stronger at any age. And that was in the back of my mind. That could happen. And sure enough, it has, and it did. And I love it. I love it. I love it for the weights that I can lift now and the weights that I do lift. But mostly I love it because of my knee's hurting now because I just played 2.5 hours of pickleball. But it's so much better. It's so much better. Everything's so much better. I can sleep now this is silly, but I can sleep on my left side now.
That's not silly.
I couldn't sleep on my left side. Yeah.
I think there's so many things that people take for granted, things that seem small, things that seem silly, and it's like, but this is impacting my life.
Yes. Like I don't think I told you last week, going down the stairs with the grocery bags, I used to, because of my right knee, I used to lead with my left and protect my right and go down. And last week, without even thinking about it, I'm going down with my right. I'm like, boop, boop. Oh, look at that. You know, your body goes, okay, you can handle this. And I flashed back to a time when I was in my 40s, and we used to go hiking Tiger Mountain, which is about a 3-mile hike up. And then I would run down. So so I flashed back to that. I go, wow, you're that age again. I'm feeling that age again. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. You know, we have what's the word I'm looking for? We have a training age, which is different than our actual age. And when people are strength training, people are prioritizing their health. It's possible that regardless of what their age is, they can actually go backwards.
Oh, I feel like that.
Which I think is fascinating. And I think it's so cool that you are sharing that experience. You even told me in our session this past week, you were at the event this past Friday night.
Oh, yeah. And I was walking with my 3-inch heels for 6 hours. I mean, I never thought I was going to get back into 3-inch heels. Never. I mean, not that I want to do it again. I mean, not that I would recommend doing it a lot, but I mean, it's still a pain in the ass. But yeah, I put them on because my dress required that I wear these shoes. And I said, oh, I got to wear these shoes. I got to wear the boots. They were really cool. And I said, I got to put these on. So I put them on, like when I was trying them out, like last week. And I said, I think I can do this, and started walking around the house. And then I put them on that day, a little bit worried because I had been very physically active that day. And yeah, I was walking around. I got a lot of compliments on those boots. And I have to say, it was miraculous and I actually got up from the table without having to weight my left leg. I could weight my right leg and get up. So that was a real gift.
I think something that is just really big for people to understand is if there are little things that you're not doing because, you know, there might be a weakness or an imbalance in your body, sometimes all it takes is just something really small to get you significantly stronger. I mean, you had told me in our session, you were like, I think this is because of all of those single leg squat variations we've been working on.
Yep.
And how often do you do that kind of stuff?
Oh, well, your program for me is 3 times a week.
But you're doing single leg squat variation,
Oh, yeah.
like
Oh,
one,
you
maybe
mean,
2 times a week.
oh, yeah. Those have really, that single leg stuff has really helped a lot because it shows the deficiency in one side versus the other. And my right, I'm noticing now when I always used to start off with my left because it was stronger. And now I'm noticing that when I start off with my right, I'm not like, I don't hear this, which I used to hear in my knee all the time. And my PT guy said, if it doesn't hurt, then I'm not worried about it because it freaks you out when you hear various noises coming out of your body.
Sure.
But it didn't hurt. So now it doesn't hurt. And then I would actually usually have a hard time the next day because that knee would be inflamed and it would be kind of grumpy. Now that's not the case anymore. It's not that grumpy. So that's a huge win because now I don't have to take to the ice pad as much as I had to before. And then, yeah, it's getting stronger. And now, because it doesn't hurt and because I've gotten stronger, I can concentrate on my adductors, which was much, much weaker on my right side than my left, which is very cool. So that when I stand up, I can squeeze that adductor and know that's making everything stronger.
I want
So
to,
it's been a long time coming.
yeah. I mean, you've put in a lot of work. You've been so consistent. And for anybody who's wondering, how frequently is Abbie training? Abbie, how frequently are you training?
Well, I'm
How
training
frequently are you strength training?
3 times a week religiously. I shouldn't say that because I'll jinx myself. But yes, 3 times a week because your program's great. And I'm in a really good spot right now. Well, I've always been in a good spot with you, but I'm in a really good spot right now because it's enough time because I'm also playing pickleball 4 times a week. So for 2.5 hours. So between the weight, I have a nice sweet spot now with the weightlifting because it gives me enough time. My body's adjusted so that I can recover. Some days it doesn't feel like that, but I just keeps getting stronger.
And I,
So
I think something that's important for anyone to hear, especially somebody who is in an older stage of life, is it's going to
yeah,
take longer for the body to recover.
yeah.
So you can't compare yourself to the 30-year-olds who might be able to hit it 5 times a week. You
Hmm.
might need 3 times a week so that your body can properly recover. But so long as you do that, I mean, your deadlift started at like, we were using a 12-kilo bell, and
Yeah.
now you were
I
loaded
get
up
to go up to 150 this week.
150 pounds. Like that is huge.
Yeah.
That is 3 times a week. You've shown up consistently. And has there ever been a point in time where I have asked you to do something? You've said, this hurts. And the answer was, let's just go heavier.
No, God, no. No.
I think sometimes, it doesn't matter what the profession is. You can find so many trainers, you can find so many therapists, you can find so many doctors. There's going to be
Hmm.
people who are in alignment with you and are really looking out for your best interests. And then there's going to be other people where you might not be their number one priority in that moment. And sometimes it just takes time to find somebody that you click with. And
Yeah.
it's making sure that you are safe.
Yeah, because you're really good for me because I have a tendency to want to do more. Like I'll go, oh my God. Like I remember when we were doing the deadlifting a couple of weeks ago and I was at 145 and you were trying to give me, like I had to hit a certain number before you were going to say, okay, now I'll up you to 150. And I'll never forget, you say, okay, can you do 7? Because I was doing 5. And I was in the middle of doing the 7th one. I go, oh, I feel really strong. I can do 8. I think I could do 9. And I said to you, can I do 7? Nope, nope, nope. Put it down, which is exactly what I need. Because given my druthers and because how competitive I am with myself, I would have pushed it and I could have hurt myself because I just to squeak out that I have to. You're really good about helping me take my ego out of it so that I'm really concentrating on what's working and not what will work for me and keep me safe and keep me on the road to better progress. Yeah. So I really totally appreciate that.
On the road to 180 pounds for your deadlift, right?
Oh, you better believe it. You better believe it.
Well, I think There's a lot of people who are like you in the sense where it's like, I'm so used to pushing myself, I want to keep pushing myself. And then there's other people who are like terrified to push themselves. And I find this a lot with females where it's like, well, I need permission before I can push for more. And I think what people need to understand in regards to strength training, and for all of the women who are listening to this right now, who are not currently strength training on a progressive training program, if you have a goal to get stronger, if you have a goal to build more muscle, and I hope you have those two goals, you need progressive overload.
Yeah.
So you should be gradually increasing the weights or increasing some variable to make it more challenging on yourself so that you're creating the appropriate stimulus for change to actually take place. When we've progressed with weight, has there ever been a point in time where it's like, you know, we're going to make a really big jump quickly? I mean, it's taken us 2.5 years to go from 12 kilos to 150 pounds.
Well, remember, I didn't have a hex bar.
Yeah.
Up until like just maybe 6 months ago. I was doing it with kettlebells. I was doing deadlifts with the kettlebells. And I had the 60-pound kettlebell and the 50-pound kettlebell. And then you and I talked about it, and I got a hex bar and then got a whole bunch of weights. And I'm so happy. And I really like the hex bar for me because it might feel like a little wobbly. Like, you know, you have to like really get your tension right. But it's better for my back, for safety reasons for my back, than probably a straight bar at this point.
I think almost everybody would benefit more from the hex bar unless there are different lifts that you want to do with a straight bar, and maybe you only have access to a straight bar at the moment. It's on my list to get a hex bar, but right now all I have access to is a straight bar. So that's why that's the modality I am lifting with. And I think that hex bar is amazing. You can actually lift significantly more weight with the hex bar because it's easier to get it in line with the center of your mass.
Right.
And
which
with you,
my back. Yeah.
And with you, especially as a woman in her 70s, that we know we need to keep you really strong, and we need to keep packing on the muscle, and we need to strengthen your bones. The more we can safely load you up, the better suited you are going to be for the rest of your life.
Yeah, because of my goal, they always say, you'll stick with a program or stick with something if your goal is bigger than, I want to look good in this dress. And for the first time in my life, I think that's true for me, because my goal is to live independently till I die. I do not want to be beholden to my children, or I don't want to be in, if I can help it, God willing, without any disease, be in a nursing home or any situation like that. So that's my goal, is to stay so strong and live longer so I can live independently. And when you say a woman in your 70s, I just go, wait, who's she talking about?
I feel like
because I don't feel like that. I mean, it's really amazing. You know how you don't look at, some people don't look at the scale, like don't look at the scale's not who you are. The weight on the scale isn't who you are. And so what I'm here to say is the number on your birth certificate isn't really the number that you are, because it's just like, what old lady walks into the room?
It's mind-boggling. Honestly, you're one of the first women that I have had the privilege of interacting and coaching where I'm just like, there's no fucking way she's in her 70s.
Yeah, well, I don't feel like that at all. I mean, there's some days in the morning when I get up, I don't know, what is 70 supposed to feel like? I mean,
I don't know, but
I don't know what any of these things are supposed to feel like.
Are you ready to start building strength, but feel overwhelmed by complicated workouts and influencers on social media? Foundations is your answer. If you're new to strength training and want a simple, effective way to get stronger, build muscle, and drop body fat, Foundations was designed just for you. What you'll need to get started are just 3 kettlebells. That's it. These 3 kettlebells are all you need to unlock your strength, start building muscle, and start seeing real results. There's no fancy moves, no complicated routines, just the basics that will help you to progress safely and confidently. What you'll get when you join: simple, proven exercises where you will master foundational movements like squats, deadlifts, and presses that will give you strength and confidence. A progressive training program, step-by-step video and written guidance to help you improve no matter where you are starting from. A safe, effective training routine. You'll get to focus on form and build a body that's strong from the inside out. And the best part, it's DIY. You can start right away, no waiting around. You just buy the program today and you get to start building strength from the comfort of your home. You don't need to be fancy to get strong. You just need a solid foundation and the right approach. Foundations is perfect for the woman who is new to strength training and wants to take it at her own pace. She wants to feel empowered, she wants to feel strong, and she wants to feel more confident in her body. If you're ready to begin, visit www.colleenconlon.com for more details and grab your foundations program today. Again, all you need are 3 kettlebells. I'll take care of the rest.
When I was growing up, I would watch reruns of The Golden Girls, and I think
I
think they were supposed to be in like their 50s, and they looked significantly older than these 50-year-old women that I'm seeing on social media these days.
Yeah.
It's actually been really cool. You know, over the past like 5-10 years being on social media, I'm seeing all of these women, 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s. There's one woman in her 90s that I have seen do like a gymnastics routine.
Yeah, she's
on bars, and I'm just like, wow, look at what's possible. I didn't realize that this even was a possibility. And then getting to work with you, getting to work with some other female clients in their 60s. We had Dr. Pam Peak on the podcast this season who was talking about, you know, strength training is not something where if you missed it in your 30s or 40s, it's not going to serve you anymore. Like if you start today, it doesn't matter what you start with, you are going to be stronger than you were the day before. And you had made a comment about those light weights for your grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everyone to understand that it doesn't matter what you start with. Mm-hmm. Weight being relatively heavy is going to be completely different for a professional athlete in their 30s versus, you know, somebody who's a stay-at-home mom in her 40s that just had her 5th baby. Like it's going to look different, but so long as you're challenging yourself in the appropriate rep range, you're going to get stronger.
And you still feel good. I mean, you feel good. I mean, I remember when we were doing swing to snatch, and my heavy bell was a 40-pound bell, and my baby weight supposedly was 25 pounds. And I was like, oh, I'd go to pull those things out for the class. And I was like, oh my God, these things are so heavy. And everything feels heavy, even like when you start out the day, you know, like when you start out in the morning, I always say to you, oh my God, why does warm up seem harder than the program? And it's because, as you said, you're getting all your little bits and bobs in your body to warm up, and it's miserable. And then once you get warmed up, you feel great. And once you get warmed up, that 60-pound bell is like a piece of cake, and you can just move it across the room. So there's that component too. So for me, it's just knowing that, okay, warm up sucks, but it's really important because your warm ups are so well designed. I have not been injured because your warm-ups are so good.
Don't skip the warm-up.
Don't skip the warm-up. No, don't skip the warm-up. As soon as you skip the warm-up, I know that there's an injury in my background. But anyway, you know, you just have to move through it because in the warm-up, you can feel ucky, you know, like this leg hurts or, oh, my back or, oh, that. But that's also a gift. Because then you can figure out, oh, that's tight. Why is that tight? What did I do to make that tight? What can I do to make it move a little bit better? I think the thing that I've loved the most about all of this is just finding out what my body can do. It's really quite amazing. It's not perfect all the time. It's not great all the time. But boy, if you look, they're like little Easter eggs that happen to your body every single week. Like, oh my God, this doesn't hurt, or this feels great, or I can lift this. I never could have lifted that. Like, I have to say, I am enamored with the deadlift right now. I mean, just absolutely enamored. It's so exciting to be able to lift something that's very heavy. I also like the single arm swings. Those are really hard, but they are so great. So,
I love getting to see all of these different moments in your training programs because they change quarterly. So, something
mhm,
for a woman who's listening to this right now, Abbie is on the same training program at minimum 12. We tend to push
mhm,
yours closer to 16 weeks
mhm,
on average. And things aren't changing all the time. It's small variables, but she's following the same 4 workouts again and again over the course of a few months.
mhm, mhm.
So, we were having this conversation in a session recently, Abbie, where it was like, you were talking to some of the guys you play pickleball with about, what you're doing. But when you talk to the women, they tend to, they're just unaware of what it means to deadlift that kind of weight. They're unaware of the things you're doing in your program. I think some women who haven't been exposed to strength training on a progressive program like you have, they just don't really know what it is or what to expect. And I'm curious because I know you've been around so many different women in all of these different athletic fields. When you have conversations with women about strength training, what's kind of like going on within your immediate circles? What do they think strength training is? What is it? What is it not?
Well, it's interesting because I think I told you this before. When I was in I think women in their 40s and 50s have to be really careful, especially women in their 50s. They have to be careful because injuries are right around the corner for you. Unless you start to get strong and unless you start to get to pay attention and do some sort of strength training under a soup, not under with a program that's designed for you. And I will tell you, had I been doing this in my 50s, I don't think I would have herniated those discs. I think I would have been stronger on the bike. I don't think I would have had a limitation in my hip. I don't think, and then in my 60s, when I injured my shoulder, I don't think I would have injured my shoulder had I been strength training. So a lot of women that I play pickleball with are in their 50s, and they look at me like, "Oh my God, that's amazing! You're my hero," or "I wish I could do that," or "I should do." I should. This is what they all say: "I should do that. I should do that." And even one of the guys, one of the big old football guys, the other day, I said, "Troy, guess what I'm deadlifting now?" And I told him, he goes, "Oh, Jesus." So all of a sudden, after we finished playing pickleball, he goes into the gym. He goes, "You made me feel guilty. I had to get in the gym and start doing some work because I've been lagging." So I don't know. I don't know if people don't have the time, they don't have the desire. But if I know now, if I knew then what I know now, I would have had a more stick to itiveness and found somebody that could train me with weights. But there weren't very many women training women with weights 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 25 years ago. There were men training women. And I think you need, for me, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a male trainer. I mean, my PT guy is a male. But for me, having you as a female trainer really makes a big difference because it just does. It's like woman to woman,
Mm.
we speak the same language, so to speak. It's not like, "Oh, you got to do more," or, like if I say, "Oh, this bothers me or this hurts," you go, "Okay, let's back it down. Let's reassess. Where does it hurt? What's this going for?" You do a very good job of analyzing what's going on. Like the other day, like the time clocked, and then I had some cocktails at the party that I wore the 3-inch heels in. And so I wasn't really feeling that spry. And you said, "Okay, just do the best you can. We're going to just do the best we can." Yet you don't let me slack. You push a little bit. "Okay, how do you feel? Can you do a little bit more here?" Just do what you can do. And when you give somebody permission to just do what they can do, I guarantee you they always do more. And that's what you are. When I'm afraid and I'm doing the training program and I'm like looking at my next program and I'm like, "Oh, this looks so hard. I don't know if I can do this today. I feel so tired." That little voice. I always hear your voice going, "Let's just do what we can do. Let's just see what the body will do." And when I say that to myself, it kind of relaxes me. And then inevitably, I always do better than I thought I was going to do.
I think that's all we can ever ask ourselves. You know, you always have to meet yourself where you're at. And when somebody's pushing us because, I don't know, maybe it's toxic masculinity, maybe it's a trainer whose ego is just tied way too closely to their client and what their client can do, or maybe they're just a little oblivious. I mean, I've seen so many trainers who are on their phone or, you know, very distracted in a session from the times I've been in the global gym setting. You know, that might just not be the person that you want if you are serious about results and progressing. And I will tell anybody, if you are serious about strength training and you have the resources, the greatest investment you will make is working with somebody as you are getting started so that you do not hurt yourself and you understand how to safely progress. And then if you want to continue and make way more progress, you stay with the person to help you. And, you know, I think for different people, different seasons of life, that stuff can change. But for anybody who's listening to this right now and you're thinking, okay, I think I want to get started, you are worth investing in. And that doesn't mean you have to get started with me. You don't have to follow Abbie's pathway in, but you totally owe it to yourself to see what your body can do under proper supervision to get started lifting relatively heavy weights.
Yeah, because I think everybody would be amazed.
I do too.
I mean, I think everybody would be amazed. They would be amazed at how quickly their body adapts and adjusts. You know, you might have some little, you know, goes back a little bit, but you'll always go up. You'll always go up. And it's a win for when you're a woman in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. It's a win because I'm telling you, I had more injuries in my 50s. And when I was in my 40s, I thought I was invincible. I mean, I really thought I was invincible. I was strong. I mean, I swam nationals. I was riding my bike. I was running half marathons and marathons. I was pregnant with Lily and I ran the LA Marathon. I didn't know I was pregnant with her. And it was 110 degrees off the pavement. I was so cocky before I ran the marathon. I had a glass of wine the night before. And I was like running. I had just run the New York Marathon about 3 months earlier, 4 months earlier. And Devin was like a year and a half. And I was running and I lost my hearing. A guy died. It was so hot. And you know, she survived. I survived. But I was really cocky because I thought, okay, look at that. You can do that. And then, you know, time in the saddle, time on the and running without doing any weightlifting, I'm sure of it. My body developed different compensations. You know, if my right leg was tired, then my left leg took over. You know, like there was all sorts of stuff going on. And yeah, I'm telling you, if you are a woman in your 40s and you have an opportunity, or 50s or 60s, and you have an opportunity to start lifting any kind of weights, just 2 times a week to get started, just find somebody, but find a program, because that made the biggest difference. Because in COVID, I was messing around with weights, but I was just following Instagram stuff like, oh, that looks cool. I think I'll try that. And it wasn't until I realized, you're not going to get any better just messing around. And that's when I found you and found Swing to Snatch, which was, I mean, I never forget. I was the oldest one in Swing to Snatch too. And I'll never forget when I had the program and you were like, okay, now it's 4 days a week. And then we're going to meet Tuesday nights. And then we'll have a class on Saturday if you want to join. And I'm thinking to myself, I might do 3 days a week. I can probably. And then you said, no, you have to sign a commitment to yourself to do 4 days a week. And I ended up doing the 4 days a week. And then, you know, then we had the classes on Tuesdays that help with form and function. But that was really helpful. And then when I saw the progress at that, I said, I think I want to do a one-on-one, because that's how I've made so much progress.
I want to highlight
5:30 every Monday morning. I'm waking up to see Colleen at 6:45 because this old broad needs to get up and have breakfast and warm up for an hour before she sees her trainer.
You have been one of the highlights of my week since we started training together. It's so rewarding to have a client who is very consistent and very willing to put in the work. And then it's a whole other thing to see can do.
Mm.
You know, me getting to watch you, I'm like, wow, look at what Abbie can do. I hope I can do what she can do when I get to that point in my journey.
Oh,
It's
you
so
will be.
inspiring.
The only thing that we all have to worry about as we age is I think I've said this to you before, is if some sort of horrible disease befalls you, which, can happen. Breast cancer, all sorts of stuff can happen. But, which is another reason why I want to lift weights, is because if I do get sick and I do need to be in the hospital or something happens, I want to have as much muscle and bone development on my body as possible so that I don't wither away, because it's so easy to wither away when you're ill, because your body needs so much more energy to heal. And I have a couple of girlfriends right now. One of them has very bad breast cancer. And you hear about that more as you age too. Oh, so and so has this, or so and so has that. So that's another reason that inspires me to continue to lift to my capacity, because I want to be able to heal from anything that happens to me. So I used to look at my big legs and go, oh my God, look at those legs. Don't we want them thinner? Oh, where's the thigh gap? And and it's so funny. I saw this young woman walking into the gym today, and she had really strong, big legs. And I thought to myself, when you were in your 20s or 30s, you would have looked at those legs and thought, oh, that poor thing, they're a little too big. And now I'm looking at them like, girl, keep developing that muscle. Get as much muscle on your body as you possibly can.
I love that. I'll tell you, I want fucking tree trunks for legs. It's hard though. It is so hard to put on muscle, even when you are actively trying. This past year, this, I went into a surplus with the intention of putting on muscle. I've finished my cut, and, I wish I did an in-body scan before I started, because I actually don't have those metrics. Tell based on pictures that my legs have gotten bigger. I can tell based on my strength, I'm lifting much heavier weights than I was before. But I don't think, unless you were looking really closely and I was pointing it out, most people probably wouldn't necessarily know that much muscle was necessarily put on my legs. All to say, if you are trying to grow your legs, you got to work really hard. So those girls who do have tree trunks for legs, like, hats off to them, especially as they continue throughout life. I have a woman who I train after you on Mondays, and super strong. She was also in Swing to Snatch, and she recently had to have surgery on her abdominals. And we had to have the conversation around, well, what is that going to look like afterwards? And I've had all of these abdominal surgeries, so I kind of understand, what it's going to feel like. But at the same time, when I had all my surgeries, I wasn't strength training. She's been strength training consistently. I think she was the round right after you. So for about 2 years, and she was like, yeah, they cut me open. I'm good. I'm walking around. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that was not my situation. So, we never know what's going to happen to us. So if you were just like taking the time to take care of yourself now and get strong, when hiccups happen, when life happens to you, you're just going to be in a much better position than if you're not training to be a strong, badass bitch.
Well, I remember when I had COVID. I got COVID when we were in Italy last fall. Not this fall, the fall before that. And I had been strength training. Actually, I was doing like some stuff in the hotel room that you had given me to do just with body weight. And then I found a kettlebell, and I got COVID really sick on the way home. And I think I rebounded from COVID. Well, fortunately, I had the vaccine, but I rebounded from COVID pretty well. And I didn't lose very much strength after being sick with that. So that was eye-opening too, that's pretty good. The bounce back was pretty good on that. Yeah.
Being strong with the goal of longevity, I think, gets overlooked by so many people, especially the 20s, the 30s, the 40-year-olds.
Yeah, because you think you have a long time.
If you were listening to this right now, like, this is your god darn sign to start strength training so you are ahead of the curve. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yep. Because the other thing is when you have children, you stay strong for them because you're lifting them, you're carrying them. I mean, their emotional problems get to be exhausting when they're teenagers. So the fitter I was, I always worked around my children's schedule so that I could get a workout in, because I knew if I didn't get a workout in, I was not going to be a good mother. I just wasn't going to be present in their lives. I was going to be just kind of cranky. So, yeah, so if you have children, it's really important. Well, first of all, to set that example. I mean, my daughter's in her 30 now and she's still training. And she comes home and watches me train and is a good cheerleader and things. So, yeah, if you have children, you really need it because they're hard on you. Children are hard on you emotionally and physically. So you deserve that time to yourself. You deserve an opportunity to watch yourself flourish. And that's growing strength is the perfect way to give yourself a gift at that time. That's like your own little secret. Like, oh, look at what mommy can do. Mommy can bench press, or mommy can lift this kettlebell up to 60 pounds. And the kids will get a big kick out of it too. So, it's a win situation for everybody, I think. But women sometimes forget to take care of themselves because they're so busy taking care of their children and the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner, the school this, the school that. And most of that work falls on their shoulders. The husbands yes, there are many husbands that help participate. But emotionally, I think women are more invested in their children's lives than their husbands are. Sorry, guys, but that's what I think. And I think that if you're not strong, and weightlifting can help you be mentally strong for those very difficult years. I think that's something that's really important for women to consider.
I wish we had like 5 more hours on this podcast.
It's been fun.
It has been fun. As we get ready to wrap up this episode, is there a specific message to the woman who is 70? Who is listening to this episode right now, and she wants to lift more weight because she knows it's going to set her up for success, but she's scared? What do you tell her?
Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Because you can be scared of everything. I'm scared about the way the world is right now, but I'm still just plugging along. Don't think about it. You don't have to think about it in the long term. Just think about it tomorrow. Just think about it for tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to call and see if I can get a program developed for me. Just do that. Tomorrow, I'm going to find out what my beginning weight should be when I lift. Just do that. Just do one thing that makes you move forward. And every time you feel fearful, I think I've said this before. I have a little girl that gets fearful, that says, oh my God, you can't do that. And what I just say to her is, sit over here and watch me. You sit here, stick your thumb in your mouth, wrap yourself up in a blanket, and watch me. And I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. That's what I would say.
Thanks for tuning in. If this episode hit home, don't forget to leave a rating and review. Women are stronger together, so share this with a woman who you want to see rise. When we embrace positive takeaways, we level up, and when we share them, we change the world. Follow us on Instagram at The Dangerous Women Podcast and let us know what you want to hear next. And remember, dangerous women redefine wellness and the world. So be fierce, be authentic, be dangerous.